Hi, Hayden here, and in this video I am not wearing my microphone for safety, as you can see why, right? So this is that one tree I was talking about in my previous video about the fire safety and all that kind of stuff. This is a limb I just chopped down from the tree, of course, and that's how big that baby is. Now there's another limb right above it I have to take down as well. And actually that's two limbs that you're seeing. There's one behind that limb in the distance behind that, but I'm just taking down this one, and the ladder's already positioned for it. Now I'm going to take the limb down right here, you know, outbound of the ladder, obviously, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and record that, and if I survive it, we'll go ahead and put it on YouTube. But this is the Ryobi electric chainsaw. Hang on a second, let me grab that. All right, so this, I'm wearing camouflage on camouflage here, so it's kind of funny. But anyways, I have the Ryobi chainsaw. It's version 2, the 40 volt system. This is the 40 volt, but it's only 55 watts. This is really not made for this at all. It came with some other device, one of the other part of the Ryobi electric 40 volt system objects that I bought. This, in all honesty, is probably like for, I don't know, some kind of a flashlight or something. I don't have any flashlights, but that came with some other device, maybe the leaf blower kind of thing or something like that, which I use a lot for the fire, but probably for something like that. But let's see how far I can go with this limb, and if I can't get it all the way, then I'll go ahead and switch the batteries to a 2.6, which is the next size up that I have. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how we can do on this one here. All right, so there's a little bit of action shot for you with the Ryobi. And there's that other limb that was behind it. I have to drive around the tree and look at the shape and design of the tree and everything and see how it's growing. And if it's growing real pretty and everything else, that'll stay. If that limb, because it goes out pretty far. It's that's probably got to be 40, 45 feet out to the end. So I got to see how it looks and how well, you know, the shape of the tree is and the safety of the tree. Because over here on this side, that's a power pole. We have our power comes out onto our property, and then we have it going off to our house. We got our own power poles, but if the shape of the tree is good and the weight and balance of the tree is good, then I'll leave it as it is. If I need to remove some more limbs, then I'll do that. But I want to try to keep that nice kind of a Y shape to the tree, you know, and not have stuff growing down smacking me in the face. And that's kind of deal with that. So, let me go to town on some of this, and let me, hang on just a second, I want to show you one more thing on that. Now again, this is my Fisker's hand saw, right? I mentioned that in the other video, I didn't show it to you though. All these limbs out here, all those limbs out there along the edge, a good amount of that material, pretty much where the leaves are. I kind of have this expression myself, give me the leaves, because once you remove all the leaves, then the chainsaw does the quick work of the branches and limbs and stuff, getting it back up into putting it over on the burn pit. Now I have material over on the burn pit that's ready to go, but it's all big stuff. It's big stuff from the other tree I was working on. And as a matter of fact, I say that I run out of personal power before I run out of battery power, or I run out of energy before the batteries do. The other day, that almost became not true because my batteries ran out of juice and they were all too hot to use, right? Because I was using the dull blade and all that on the chainsaw. So I changed the blade and they worked real well after that. Got work done pretty quick. But I got done work done so quick with such big branches or big limbs that I was really running out of power. So what I did is I had cut everything up small in place, like it basically just sliced like a loaf of bread kind of thing, left everything in place, went to work with the handsaw, and I took my batteries back into the charger and got them charged up. Then at the end of the day, I can go back and do the really heavy stuff and get, you know, like right by the tree. Well, that other limb, the limb that's behind the first one here, there's this one limb right here that I just cut down, but the other limb back there is pretty fat. And so, you know, on limbs like that, then electric chainsaw is going to take a little bit of work, especially if the blade isn't brand new. But after I changed out the blade, then it was real good. Now, I want to mention real quick about that. Sharpening the chainsaw blades is something you can do. It takes time, and you know, I don't want to sound silly about it or whatever, but for me to sit there, I sharpened a couple of blades, you know, and they worked a little bit and everything else, but nothing cuts like a brand new blade to me. And time, you know, I like to say time is money, but I'm sort of kind of retired, but time is money. You know, time spent doing one thing is time, you know, time spent that I could have been doing something else. So if I can spend a couple of more dollars, just buy brand new blades, I get a 2-pack for like 25 bucks. I don't know if it costs, you know, it would have to be like $3 or something like that to sharpen a chain, but I still got to take it to somebody, have it sharpened, then bring it back, and that's time wasted. I could be doing something else as well. So you see what I'm saying there? Time is money. If you have to spend a certain amount of time, you could have spent less time by just buying a brand new blade and it only costs a few dollars more. I'm just going to buy the brand new blade, and that's just the way it's going to be because they cut like butter when they're new. This saw is one of those deals. This saw has been going crazy ever since I got it out here, and it cuts like butter all the time. Sorry about the wind. I'm not wearing a microphone, obviously for safety. But I'm going to go to town on some of these branches, and if you want to hang out and see some of that, I'll speed that part of the video up, and I'll get this camera set up in the shade because the sun's coming up over this way, and the sun's going to be banging on the camera here. So what I'll do is probably move the camera over to a shady spot on the other side of the tree so it'll be shade for a longer bit of time, and then I'll go ahead and speed up that video. But I'll start chopping up some of this stuff with this handsaw. You see how fast it goes. And what I'm going to do with this, and I didn't mention this, I meant to mention it in the last video. I tried to make it a few times. I kept goofing up my line. Not because I don't prepare anything in advance. I just go off the top of my head. But this is the tree. This is the tree I was talking about in the distance that I got a better work process going. Let me explain that real quick. What I decided to do, rather than cutting everything up real small and making a pile out of it, cutting it up real small, immediately throwing it in the cart. So I'll position everything up so you can get it in one shot. Then I'll speed that up so you can see how it works in the video. But I'm gonna make kind of pretty quick work of this stuff here, and I'll show you how I do that. I'll put some music or something behind it because the wind is going to be relentless. And I'll get the polar cart on the Toro mower, my Fisker saw. Sounds like I'm making ads. I'm not, but this is the stuff that I use to get the job done. And I'll try to make some quick work on these branches and get them over to the burn pit. So hang out for that, but don't forget to give me that thumbs up, like this video, make the comment below, let me know you came by to say hi. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate the growth on the network. And but hang on for the other part of this video where I'm going to be doing some quick work showing you how I use the handsaw to prepare the material for the chainsaw to finish the job. All right, so hang on for that part of the video. Okay, I got the Toro mower and the polar cart. Let me get the polar cart in there. All right, the polar cart's in there. And this is the way I do this. What I do is I cut up the little pieces, put them in the cart, take them over to the burn pit. You won't be able to see that. That's what that'll be out of the picture. And I'll probably stop the camera for that. But one of the things is I have this, to give somebody a shout out here. Looks like Cisno or whatever. All right, this is a battery pack. I bought this thing off of eBay. And it's got a 1.5 and a 3.5 power output kind of thing. I'm not sure if it says it on there, but I believe it's this side over here. Now what'll happen is I plug this thing in, and I can plug it into my camera here to make sure my camera has enough power to it. All right. And then this little thing here, I kind of loop around my system here. Let me tighten up this thing here so the camera doesn't tilt. All right, so I just tie this around. Now this can just hang, kind of, you know, that's all it does. But the power, you know, it's not strong enough to, it's not strong enough to actually take the thing down, or, you know, for the battery pack to fall off. So there we go. So we got the polar cart right there in the background. Me in the foreground, we got the tree here, and I'm gonna add some music to this, and then I'll speed this up too, so you can watch a little bit faster. But this really makes pretty quick work of a lot of the bushy part of the tree and the thinner part of the branches. So using the right tool for the right part of the job to get the job done is great. So that way I can more effectively and efficiently get the work done, not wear out myself. And also the breaks that I take, like now, that 55 watt, there's only a 55 watt battery on there. Now I'm not real up on the electricity. I really want to be up on electrical, stuff, but I know 55 watt is a lot less power than 1 amp. And I got a 2.6 amp, I got 2 of those, a 3 amp and a 4 amp battery. But that one there's a 55 watt battery, and it cut down these 2 limbs, right? And these are huge limbs. All right, so let's get to work on this. I'll speed this up for you and enjoy the video. I'll put some music of something in the background. Okay, I'm going to pause the video right now, take this stuff over to the burn pit, reposition the camera, and put the cart kind of closer up so you can see what's going on. Hopefully a little bit better. All right, so hang on for that. All right, we're back. Let's do some more work. Okay, I'm gonna make another quick run over to the burn pit, drop this material off, and what I'm doing is I'm laying down the bed for the larger logs that I need to burn up, so that when I start the fire first thing in the morning, whenever that is, it'll have all day to burn that stuff up. But I need stuff, kindling, whatever, even though it's green wood, I need that to be on the bottom, set up to accept the larger logs and stuff, so that they'll all burn up. So let me go ahead and drop that off. I'll be right back, do some more cleaning up, and then we'll do some chainsaw work. All right, so I dropped the other load off at the burn pit, and I came back in, and I had moved the camera in the last shot, so the Toro wasn't there. The Polar cart here wasn't in the shot as good as I wanted to. I just wanted to move it over a little bit. I've never done this before, but you know, if you're in a tight spot and you want to back up and pull forward and stuff like that, if you got the like a Polar cart hooked up to your lawnmower kind of thing, you can do this with it. You can just pick it up and move it. It's that light. Now that's adorable when I say it's that light, because it's light because it's on the wheels moving around and stuff, and it's got the forward pivot point on the Toro mower. I bought an adapter so I could put that pin in there to use it. Maybe I'll show that later on in the video, or a different video altogether, or something like that, specifically on that sort of thing. But what I want to do now is I actually want to take the chainsaw and I want to, I'm going to reposition the camera again. Let's go ahead. Let's follow along here. All right, so I have this limb pretty much, you know, branched off a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to go out to the end where it's thinner, and I want to gather up a load of thinner logs, if that makes sense. Because when I start with the low fire, with the stuff that'll burn up fast, this is all green wood. I just cut it down today, and it's going to take a while to dry out, right? So I'm going to burn it up before it's ready to really be used as firewood. So what I need to do is use the kindling stuff, the real skinny stuff with the leaves on it. Then I need to use thinner logs, right? Then I can get into the bigger logs, like this puppy down here, which is going to take a while to even start burning at all, because the first thing that has to do is the coals get real hot, right? So the coals have to get real hot in order to dry the wood out, so then it can burn. And it'll burn from the outside in because it dries from the outside in, right? So first things first, I'm going to use still got the 55 watt battery on it, and because I haven't been using it in a little while, it has it took a rest. The battery rested, so it has some more power to it. And I should be able to get a little bit of this done before that thing quits on me. So let's see what we can do with it. Let's go. So what happened is this battery kind of slowed down on me a little bit. It lost some of its pull, but see, 55 watts. So we're going to go up to the 2.6 amp battery now. Now I take that battery, the other battery that kind of got weak. Next time I make a trip over to the burn pit, I will take that battery and put it on the baker's rack so it can continue to cool off. Then the next trip I take back, I'll put that battery on the charger, because then it should have cooled off enough to start charging again. All right? If you put it on the charger, you just got done using the battery, right? If you put it on the charger and it tells you it's defective, it's too hot. Let the battery cool off half an hour, put it back on the charger and see if it starts working then. I actually returned 1 or 2 batteries because I thought they were defective. They really weren't. They were I just used them and they were too hot. All right, let's do some more cutting. Okay, the stuff that I have in the polar cart right now is going to be enough to do two things. I want to hold down all the leafy stuff that I already put on the burn pit. I want to hold that down, plus give this stuff the opportunity to dry out while that's burning up, so it'll catch on fire, start burning bigger pieces, and then I can bring some of the larger pieces in and do that as well. All right, so I'll work on cleaning this up, and I'll show you how I set up the fire pit in a little bit, so hang on for that section. I just learned something out about open camera. If, you know, I'm using it on my cell phone. This is a ZTE Axon 7 cell phone that's doing this video, and we do one more thing too. There we go. All right, so I hit the pause button to stop the recording, but when I shut the video screen off, it shut off the it stopped recording, so it ended that file for recording. So this is a second file. You won't know because I'll just edit it together, but interesting. Now this is a pile of stuff of some of the things I brought off that tree, which is over there. All right, so that's that tree over there, right? And where I'm working, and I'm bringing this stuff over here to the burn pit. Now I put all the leafy stuff down here because it's all leafy and everything else. It sits up higher, but that allows air to get underneath. I use the leaf blower kind of thing, and get air into that so it'll burn better and more fully. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower that pile a little bit by putting heavier wood on it, because the air is going to be able to get in there. This smaller wood pieces will be able to dry out and catch on fire before the fire ends. You know what I'm saying? Because if you try to start your fire and it won't start, it's because you didn't have enough kindling there or something like that, not enough airflow, a couple of different reasons. But one of the things is it's green wood and it's just not going to burn. All right, so let me put some of this wood on there. I unload the cart manually at this point. Later on, I'll just be dumping stuff over there. All of this stuff here was cut with the Ryobi 40 volt chainsaw, the electric chainsaw. All right, that gives you a general idea of what I do. Get the light, kind of easy, to burn stuff down the bottom. Get a little bit of the heavier stuff on top, medium weight stuff, medium size, small to medium size wood. That will hold that leafy stuff down in case a little gust of wind comes by. Today, in fact, is kind of gusty, and I would not trust doing a fire on that. Not only that, this particular fire is going to be meant to burn up logs like these, in the background here, and it's got to burn up all this stuff. So I need to start it first thing in the morning, get that stuff nice and hot. As the leafy stuff burns away and makes hot coals down at the bottom in the center there, then I have to manage the fire by using my, I got my original fire prevention or suppression tools. I got a flat-headed shovel, and I have a metal rake, ironically with wooden handles. And but they haven't caught on fire yet. And but they help me spread this fire around a little bit, or the coals, raking the coals out, making it a nice even bed of coals, kind of like you see the Hawaiian things where they walk across the hot coals or whatever. Yeah, I walk across enough of these with my shoes on. I'm not going to be walking across with bare feet. But the funny thing about it is that's it. You want those nice red hot coals down at the bottom. They turn black, but the heat is incredible underneath these things. And so when I burn that up, I need those coals to get super, super hot. I use the blower, the Ryobi electric, it's part of the 40 volt system, to blow the coals to get that air circulation, make them nice and hot, burn all this material up so it can burn the other material up like that. And that's the way that kind of works. I'll bring the camera back over to the other tree and do some more work on it. And again, I'll speed that up, throw some music in the background for your enjoyment. And hang on. I'll be right back with some more of that. Hi, Ray Hayden here, and this video is a burn day video. This is the tail end of a video I was doing about trimming trees and everything else. I got the Kubota tractor and the Toro zero-turn mower out here for comfort for seating and also for fire suppression should the fire want to get wandery. Now, the day that I was doing that trimming, the first part of this video was done when Tropical Storm Umberto was just kind of brewing up a little bit, and he was over by the coast, and some of the bands of that weather were coming overhead, so we were getting rained on pretty heavy. And it was too windy, so I wasn't going to do a fire that day anyway. But I did prepare my fire. Now, it's fire that I kind of put out, but there's no such thing as a safe fire. Never, trust a fire or anything like that. And what happened was it rained, and because the wind was gusty, it cleaned off the charcoals underneath the, covered up coals and everything. It cleared that off and allowed a fire to start that I had to put out. So the fire started burning and everything else. It cleans out the section, and then this stuff, here I just pulled out of the center and all that kind of thing, along with that large log over there. And so that's, the way that happens with that. Never trust a fire. There's no such thing as a safe fire. I always operate scared. I kind of glanced out my window between rainstorms, and I saw that there was a little bit of a flicker of a flame, so I came out here and put that out. And moved all the wood off of the burn pit together. So now I have to reestablish the base. So I'll reestablish the base of the fire, then start putting on some smaller logs that I'd gathered up and everything else, and put those on there as well. And then I'll start the fire this morning. I don't show the fire because I want to concentrate 100% on the fire for the reasons I stated earlier in this video. But then I'll get the fire going. I'll pay 100% of my attention to the fire and make sure that it remains in control and gets the job done today. There's another thing I want to talk about too. The previous fire that I made, I forgot to mention this, but the previous fire that I had made, I was putting some wood onto the fire, building the fire up as it already started up, continuing the fire, getting the job done. And a little backflash kind of thing, or a flashback or whatever, something happened. Some fire actually came out and hit me. I didn't shave my beard. Some of my beard and my mustache got singed. So I had to go ahead and shave my beard down and get my hair real short again and stuff like that. A good reason why firemen shouldn't have facial hair, I guess, is because there's a potential for your hair to burn. That doesn't smell good. So, yeah, there's no such thing as a safe fire. I always try to stay right on top of the fire all the time and get the job done with that. And that's also why I don't record the fires. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I just wanted to touch on the fact that, yep, it rained. It rained, by the way, it rained 2 times very heavily on this fire, right? Or the burn pit. It rained twice heavily, right? Gusts of winds between everything, cleaned off the coals underneath, and actually started the fire to burn. Now, I want to mention one more thing about that. There's a gentleman, I believe he's out in Texas. He has a large ranch. And I saw a video about his when I was starting to do these burns a long time ago. And he said, he had done a fire and he churned, and with his tractor, churned everything. It was a big fire. He did a big fire. And he churned up all the stuff, turned everything up, buried it up, churned it up, buried it up, and everything else. And 2 weeks later, he drove out there across that area in his tractor, and he kind of smelled a little bit of rubber burning, So he dug it up and churned it up again, and sure enough, man, that thing was still pumping out some serious heat. But, so yeah, you never trust a fire, and this is, underneath this burn pit is an old tree stump of a pretty large tree. That the stump was really large, and in the back of this, you can hardly tell. You can't see it right now, it's buried up with some of that stuff, but there was a palm tree, so there were 2 trees right next to each other here. When I got here, it was just a stump. When we bought the property, it was just a stump and for the big tree, and I burned that out, and that root system, I imagine, is still actually smoldering to this day, and it's been a long time since I got that burned up. Anyway, so, just pay attention to it, keep it, and the ground's sand. The sand helps contain the fire, so that's another helpful thing here with the geography on the property. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like this video. Make sure you make that comment below. Let me know you came by to say hi. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate the growth on the network. And until I catch you in the next video, take care, be safe, and be well.